if it was up to me, like we keep on saying, we want to see Benavidez. Canelo, hell of a fighter, but my personal opinion, he's ducking Benavidez. You know, that's just my personal opinion, and I'm allowed to speak my mind. That's just what it is. We want to see Benavidez. Let's make it happen.
Floyd Mayweather recently provided an in-depth analysis of the matchup between Canelo Alvarez and Edgar Berlanga, expressing his belief that Berlanga has what it takes to defeat Canelo. Mayweather highlighted Berlanga's youth, power, and hunger as key factors that could pose serious challenges for Canelo, who is currently seen as one of the top fighters in the sport. He emphasized that while Canelo is a seasoned and accomplished boxer, Berlanga's aggressive style and determination make him a formidable opponent. Mayweather's breakdown suggests that he sees the potential for an upset if the two fighters were to meet in the ring.
There's a lot of great Mexican fighters. That's not for me to rate fighters. I just take my hat off to so many fighters that paved the way, you know, for me to be where I'm at, just, you know, throughout life.
Meanwhile, Bernard Hopkins is confident that Canelo Alvarez will secure a knockout victory over Edgar Berlanga. As a major underdog going into the fight, Berlanga hopes to pull off a stunning upset over one of boxing's most well-known superstars. Thus, it should come as no surprise that Hopkins, a former world champion himself, has predicted Canelo will win and keep his championships. Hopkins said, "Canelo gets the knockout within 6 or 7 rounds. I'm going with Canelo. I could be wrong, but I doubt it. Anything can happen, right? But if you ask me who I'm going for if I have to put money down, Canelo all day." As the unified champion, Canelo will defend his WBC, WBO, and WBA titles on Mexican Independence Day. Speaking about this lucrative bout, Jose Benavidez Sr., father and trainer of David Benavidez, shared his hopes that Berlanga will put an end to what he calls the Canelo-imposed stranglehold on the division. In an interview with Fight Hub TV, he expressed his support for the challenger, stating that he was rooting for Berlanga to defeat Canelo, believing it would open up opportunities for others in the division to compete for the title. Although Benavidez Sr. lost the IBF title, he can rest easy at night if Berlanga hands Canelo a decisive defeat. Benavidez Sr. said, "I feel that Canelo has this belt hostage for a long time. They already took one away, but he still has 3 of them. I'll be happy if Berlanga can beat him." The young contender appeared alongside UFC veterans Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo on their popular Pound for Pound podcast, where he unveiled his strategy for taking on Canelo. This week offers a thrilling treat for fight fans as the UFC takes over the sphere for its largest live event yet, while boxing enthusiasts eagerly anticipate the return of their beloved superstar, Canelo Alvarez, who steps back into the ring for a monumental title showdown. Edgar Berlanga, the mandatory challenger for the WBA, is set to face him in what is expected to be the biggest fight of the 27-year-old's career. The challenger recently shared his thoughts on the eagerly awaited showdown with Alvarez, vowing to push the Mexican legend to his limits. While speaking on the Pound for Pound podcast, the Puerto Rican fighter revealed his strategy to capitalize on his reach advantage in an effort to dethrone the champion. Berlanga aims to dominate with his jab, maintaining a steady pace throughout all 12 rounds. He plans to use his jab not only to manage the distance, but also to set up opportunities to land clean shots, hoping to catch the champion off guard as Bivol did. Having learnt from the light heavyweight champion, Berlanga is extremely self-assured and has vowed to exact revenge on the winner. He said, "I'm the bigger guy, I'm longer, I'm stronger. He's going to try to look for ways to break my arms down, and I've got the power to knock him out. When we land on him, he's going to feel something different for sure. I guarantee you, he's going to feel something different." Here we go. This has all the makings of a summer blockbuster. Yet, for all of Berlanga's confidence, there's a reason why every kid knows Canelo's name. He's a dangerous man, especially when fighting on Mexican Independence Day weekend, with thousands in the crowd hungry for blood, and Berlanga poised for the sacrifice. Diego Pacheco will be paying close attention when Canelo Alvarez and Edgar Berlanga clash. Pacheco, hailed as one of the top talents in global boxing, stepped back into the ring this weekend to battle Maciej Sulecki. As Pacheco won, it puts him one step closer to a major opportunity, and he will have a say in how the fight is fought this month. Pacheco said when speaking on Matchroom's Flash Knockdown podcast, "I think Canelo will stop him. I think Berlanga will maybe do better the first 3 rounds. I feel like once Canelo has found his rhythm and has found Berlanga's timing, he'll get him out of there." Diego Pacheco is eager to step into major bouts following his 6th-round victory over Maciej Sulecki. Yet, as reported by Jake Donovan, senior writer at Ring Magazine, his promoter, Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing, seems to have a different plan in mind. After conquering Sulecki, Pacheco has ascended to the #1 spot in the WBO rankings, making him the mandatory challenger for whoever whoever emerges victorious from the Canelo Alvarez versus Edgar Berlanga bout. In a dramatic twist, the 23-year-old even issued a challenge to Canelo following his recent fight. Nonetheless, Hearn believes that an additional bout should precede this clash, and he suggests that Jaime Munguia would be the ideal opponent to bridge the gap. Following the conclusion of the bout, Donovan used X to spread Hearn's words among his supporters. According to him, Hearn revealed, "Munguia Pacheco sells out crypto for Camarena. My relationship with Oscar De La Hoya is sometimes hit and miss. But as we know, Jaime Munguia left Golden Boy, and he's now with Top Rank, so maybe that's a fight that can get made." Jaime Munguia, fresh from his defeat against Canelo in May, is set to make a notable return. Despite that setback, Munguia has inked a multi-fight co-promotional agreement with Top Rank. His next bout will see him face Eric Bazinian in Phoenix on September 20th. Previously, Munguia competed in his last 16 matches under the banner of Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions, in partnership with Zanfer Promotions. It appears he's now aligned with Top Rank as he heads into his upcoming bout. Although battling Munguia presents a challenging test for Pacheco due to Munguia's extensive experience, Hearn is convinced that facing such a formidable opponent is precisely what Pacheco needs to gear up for the major showdown that will follow the Canelo versus Berlanga fight. But what happens if those fights don't actually happen is the question. What choices does Pacheco still have? Diego Pacheco, the burgeoning talent in the super middleweight ranks, has revealed his three-man hit list as he gears up for his clash with Maciej Sulecki. Boasting an unblemished record of 22-0 with 18 victories by knockout, Pacheco is determined to face elite challengers to solidify his position as a top contender in the division. There's Mbili, Berlanga, Bazinian. There's a lot of good fighters out there that I would face, and I'm ready for any of them, Pacheco stated, signaling his readiness to face the best in the division. Pacheco, who is ranked number 1 by the WBO and number 4 by the WBC and IBF, thinks that if he keeps winning, these bouts will inevitably happen. In 5 years from now, I'll be ruling the 168 pounds division, unifying it and ultimately becoming undisputed, Pacheco confidently predicted. However, Diego Pacheco will need to be patient for his shot at Canelo Alvarez and a chance to claim the 3 belts. In the meantime, it's uncertain if Munguia will agree to step into the ring with Pacheco. On the other hand, Tim Bradley claims that Canelo Alvarez will beat Edgar Berlanga to make an example of him. Commentator Bradley believes that Berlanga doesn't yet have the experience to face WBC, WBO super middleweight champion Canelo. However, he's struck gold by landing this opportunity. Bradley, a strong advocate for Terence Crawford, would have liked to see him get the fight, despite the fact that Crawford doesn't compete at 168 pounds and would be jumping up 2 weight classes without any ranking or experience in that division. Berlanga may not be title shot material, but he's still more deserving of a bout with Canelo than Crawford, as he competes in the super middleweight division and holds the WBA mandatory status. Tim Bradley commented on the Canelo Alvarez versus Edgar Berlanga fight, expressing that Canelo seemed to be targeting an opponent who was already outmatched. He acknowledged Berlanga's achievement, congratulating him and likening the fight to winning the lottery. Bradley suggested that while the fight was an irresistible opportunity for Berlanga, from a skills standpoint, he believed Canelo would be too much for him at this stage in his career. He added that Berlanga would be well compensated, but predicted he would take a beating in the match.
The only difference is Crawford is looking for bigger fish to fry. Canelo is looking for fish that's already been fried already. Fish that already been fried. I mean, come on. You know, no offense, I like the guy Berlanga, but bro, like, you know, congratulations, Berlanga. You hit the lotto, man, for real. Hey, look, bro, it's a fight that you can't resist. I get it, I understand, but I just think from just a skill standpoint, where he's at in his career right now, I just think Canelo's gonna be too much. That's just it. He's gonna be too much for him. I mean, he gonna get paid to get his whooped.
Canelo has gone toe-to-toe with plenty of fresh challengers in their prime, including the likes of Gennady Golovkin, Floyd Mayweather Jr., Erislandy Lara, Miguel Cotto, Dimitri Bivol, and Austin Trout, among others. Bradley remarked that Canelo Alvarez has mostly been choosing opponents he knows he can dominate, but he did give Canelo credit for fighting Jaime Munguia, whom he described as a dangerous fighter on his way up. Bradley acknowledged that Munguia earned his position and that the fight was significant for Canelo, as fans were eager to see him face a younger opponent. He noted that Canelo decisively defeated Munguia and predicted that he would do the same to Berlanga.
He's only been facing guys that he knows he can pick on. However, I'm going to give him credit for Munguia. Munguia was a dangerous guy on his way up. Yeah. Again, young guy, you know, but he worked his way to get to his position. So that was a hell of a fight that I think it was a good fight for Canelo, Munguia, because everybody wanted to see him against a younger fighter. And he he did what he did against Munguia.
Bradley seems to hold some lingering resentment toward Canelo for not stepping into the ring with Crawford or David Benavidez, two matchups Bradley has been eager to see. It frustrates him that Canelo has opted out of these high-stakes battles. However, Canelo has no obligation to face Crawford, especially when Crawford isn't willing to climb to 168 and earn the shot by defeating top contenders. Canelo shouldn't be expected to fight someone merely looking for an easy payday. Bradley predicted that Canelo Alvarez would decisively defeat Edgar Berlanga, stating that while Berlanga is young, he lacks the necessary experience. Bradley expressed doubt that Berlanga could even beat Jaime Munguia. He dismissed Berlanga's claims of having a superior fight IQ, advising him to reconsider such statements. Bradley emphasized that Berlanga might have a puncher's chance, but Canelo's granite chin would be a significant obstacle. He warned that Canelo would use Berlanga as an example and would likely dominate and overwhelm him in the fight.
And he gonna do the same thing to Berlanga. He gonna tear his ass up. He's a younger guy, but don't have the experience, I believe. I don't think that Berlanga can beat a Munguia. I don't think he can beat Munguia. You know, I just don't, you know, and it's no shade. It's just like skill for skill. When I'm hearing Munguia yell about, my IQ is better, you kidding me? You better stop. You know, bro, you got a puncher's chance, you know, and Canelo got a granite chin, and you better hope that chin isn't as great as it's been in the past, and you land something and knock him on his behind, because I'm telling you, Canelo's going to use him as an example, and he's going to abuse him in the fight.
Berlanga can't be counted out as a potential upset in this fight. His power, youth, size, and drive make him a formidable challenger. The edge that comes with being younger and bigger is significant. On the other hand, Canelo is coming off a grueling match against Jaime Munguia last May, and it's unclear how much that battle took out of him. Munguia landed a lot of punches in the later rounds, leaving Canelo visibly fatigued in the final stretch. Bradley stated that Canelo Alvarez would show no mercy in the fight, cautioning Edgar Berlanga to be prepared. He added that Berlanga would be getting well paid for what he predicted would be a severe beating. Berlanga states that he doesn't seek Canelo's mercy, as he has no intention of offering any if the roles are reversed. In a sport like boxing, the notion of showing mercy to an opponent holds no place. Promoter Steven Espinoza thinks Canelo Alvarez's opponent Edgar Berlanga would be difficult to defeat. Since his move up to 175 pounds a couple of years ago, Canelo has remained unbeaten, with his only loss in that weight class being to Dimitri Bivol. In May 2024, he showcased his dominance once again, taking full control in his fight against Jaime Munguia. Berlanga boasts a perfect 22-0 record, yet he's considered the underdog. According to Espinoza in an interview with Boxing Scene, both fighters are fiercely driven to claim victory. He said, "Both fighters showed a bit of spark, some fire, some emotion, and you clearly got the sense that Berlanga is not a guy who is there just to show up, that he's motivated, that he's not intimidated, and all of that really helps, because when you've got a guy as experienced and as accomplished as Canelo, one of your big challenges is convincing people that his fights will be competitive." Edgar Berlanga will go all out when he confronts Canelo Alvarez for the world title this month, according to Eddie Hearn. The Puerto Rican fighter will put his flawless record on the line. Although he's facing a tougher opponent, Hearn is confident that his fighter will challenge Canelo with plenty of tough questions. Edgar respects him. He knows how great Canelo is, but he believes he's going to win, and he's an underdog, said Hearn when speaking to the Stomping Ground. He added, "I'll tell you what, he'll have a right go, and it's a dangerous fight for Canelo Alvarez, and I'm looking forward to it." Leonard Ellerbe, the former CEO of Mayweather Promotions, recently offered his insights on the much-anticipated fight as he talked about Canelo's forthcoming match. He is confident that the eagerly awaited showdown will eventually happen, even though many in the boxing world disagree, Oscar De La Hoya being one of the most vocal skeptics. Even though a lot of people are expected to see the match with Berlanga, fans are more excited about a possible fight between Canelo and Benavidez. Canelo reportedly wants $200 million to make this fight happen, but he has placed it down his priority list. During an interview with Marcos Villegas of Fight Hub TV, Ellerbe conveyed a hopeful outlook, anticipating that a matchup between Canelo and Benavidez would eventually come to fruition. Ellerbe explained to Fight Hub TV, "It's a fight that the entire sport wants to see. Two of the guys at the top of their game, and the fans want to see that fight. I think they will get it at some point next year." Canelo hasn't completely turned down the fight with Benavidez. Instead, he's insisting on a significant financial incentive. Though Alvarez has faced criticism for his recent fight schedules and opponent choices, Ellerbe has come to Canelo's defense. "There's never enough money when you're putting your life on the line. I support his decision to do it whenever he's ready," he concluded. Canelo's strategy hasn't won universal approval. Oscar De La Hoya, a former promoter, has voiced his disapproval of Canelo's $200 million demand, implying it might be a tactic to sidestep the fight. During an an interview, De La Hoya elaborated on his views. Canelo not wanting to fight Benavidez and outpricing himself? Even Turkey knows that Canelo is afraid of Benavidez, De La Hoya declared. The wave of reactions suggests that the WBC may have inadvertently handed fans a perfect opportunity to criticize them. According to reports, the sanctioning body has unveiled a special commemorative belt for the upcoming Canelo Alvarez versus Edgar Berlanga fight. Yet, some fans seem less than thrilled about this decision. One after another, voices filled the comments section, mocking the WBC's recent decision. Alvarez and Berlanga are set to clash at the T-Mobile Arena on September 14th, vying for the unified super middleweight championship. This eagerly awaited showdown comes on the heels of the Mexican legend's Cinco de Mayo title defense against Jaime Munguia. The WBC have created a new special WBC Tamaulipas 2 belt, which will be awarded to the winner of Canelo Alvarez versus Edgar Berlanga on September 14th, read Michael Benson's latest tweet. The WBC's official website highlights the Cuerda Tamaulipeca, a stunning traditional costume symbolizing the rich heritage of Tamaulipas, as the inspiration for the belt's design. Tamaulipas, a state in Mexico, is renowned for its distinctive embroidered jackets. The WBC president said, "This September edition of the commemorative belt is magnificent. This special recognition will be given to the winner of the Canelo versus Berlanga fight, who star in a new chapter of the greatest boxing rivalry between countries, Mexico versus Puerto Rico." The suede belt, adorned with intricate leather embroidery, carries on the legacy of its predecessor. Unveiled during the all-Mexican showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Jaime Munguia, the Tamaulipas' belt was introduced to the world. Mauricio Sulaiman shared that the creation of this belt was a collective effort, involving over 10 skilled artisans from the renowned Hebri Piel Artesania Tamaulipeca workshop. Despite the explanations provided, many fans remained unconvinced by the reasons given for the introduction of the new belt. WBC has more belts than there are fighters. Maybe they believe that their titles have less significance and respect now that the sanctioning body has an overwhelming amount of belts. Fans argue that the WBC shouldn't show favoritism. They believe that consistency is key and that the belt system should be uniformly enforced across all divisions instead of being applied selectively. Some fans requested halting such practices of issuing new belts. The constant introduction of new ones is rather diminishing the significance and prestige of the existing ones. Fans pointed out the WBC's failure to assert control over Canelo Alvarez, questioning whether the organization would have dared to strip him of his titles if David Benavidez had enforced his mandatory status. They even mocked the idea, hinting at the WBC's reluctance to challenge Canelo. In fairness to the WBC, they have a track record of unveiling special belts for significant bouts. Who could forget the Maya 1 belt for Canelo Alvarez against Daniel Jacobs in 2019? Or the Chiapaneco 2 belt for the Golovkin rematch, for that matter. Meanwhile, Edgar Berlanga made a big declaration prior to his fight with Canelo Alvarez. The unbeaten super middleweight told TMZ Sports he's destined to become a legend and take over the sport of boxing and become the face. He added he wants to definitely retire Alvarez. Berlanga's self-assurance is unmistakable. In his recent press conference with Canelo, he suggested that his punching power surpasses that of both Gennady Golovkin and James Kirkland.
Yeah, I want to definitely retire him, for sure. That's my goal, you know. And I'm not trying to sit here and disrespect him or nothing. Like, he a legend, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, we gotta go in there, we gotta fight, and we gotta tussle, and we gotta do what we gotta do. You know what I'm saying? So, like, what he said something. He said, "Oh, every fighter wants a knockout." Yeah, everybody wants a knockout. But are you gonna deliver it or not? You know what I'm saying? He's been saying his last 3-4 fights that he's gonna knock somebody out in the 7th round or the 8th round, and he never did that. I feel like right now, just the sport of boxing needs a new face. You know what I'm saying? They need excitement. They need knockouts. They need somebody that's, you know, that's gonna bring that energy into the sport of boxing the way, you know, Floyd did, Mike Tyson, you know. And the list could go on with legends that had the sport going crazy, you know?
Berlanga's early career was marked by sheer knockout power, with 17 of his bouts concluding via knockout or TKO and a staggering 16 consecutive first-round KOs to kick off his journey. However, as he ascended the ranks in boxing, that early dominance began to wane. Before knocking Padraig McCrory out in the 6th round of their February bout, Berlanga had gone the full distance in 5 consecutive fights. There's nothing to suggest Berlanga, ESPN's number 6 super middleweight, will present any issues for Alvarez inside the ring. ESPN's Mike Coppinger bluntly wrote after this matchup was finalized in July. When Berlanga enters the ring at Las Vegas's T-Mobile Arena, he'll be facing an uphill battle as the clear underdog. However, his mindset reveals a different story. He's tackling the event with a much more confident outlook. During his training camp in Colorado, Edgar Berlanga had the opportunity to connect with Deion Sanders, head coach of the University of Colorado and a legend in both the Pro and College Football Hall of Fame. Inspired by Sanders' storied career, Berlanga is now gearing up for his highly anticipated clash with pound-for-pound superstar Canelo Alvarez. In a video available online, Berlanga and Sanders were seen sharing moments together before Colorado's opening night win over North Dakota State last Thursday. Sanders took the opportunity to offer Berlanga words of encouragement as he prepared for the most significant fight of his career. Sanders said, "God gave you everything you need to win. Now it's on you. Can't be no doubt in your mind. The work should be so intense that it's just second nature. It's like a melody by the time the fight comes. Some people don't believe, but they don't know about the journey. I don't subscribe to pressure. I apply it. You were born to be there." Berlanga gave fans a glimpse into his visit to Boulder on Thursday through exclusive behind-the-scenes and sideline clips posted on his personal Instagram. He was there for Colorado's season opener, invited by Sanders himself. During his chat with Sanders, Berlanga drew a parallel between his own journey as an underdog, facing off against a legend like Canelo, and the modest beginnings of his career before the current wave of acclaim. Berlanga said, "You sound just like my coach, because when he grabbed me to turn pro, nobody wanted to sign me. He came and picked me up and turned me into a beast." The highly anticipated matchup between Canelo and Berlanga will headline a thrilling 4-fight card. The event will showcase WBA middleweight champion Arislandi, the American Dream Lara, in a 12-round clash against 2-division world champion and Puerto Rican sensation Danny Swift Garcia. Also featured is former super middleweight champion Caleb Plant, who will challenge the undefeated Trevor McCumbee for the interim WBA super middleweight title. Moreover, Edgar Berlanga intensified the verbal jabs, claiming that the Mexican fighter has fallen out of favor with his own people as they faced off in Los Angeles. Berlanga told Fight Hub TV, "The Mexicans don't like him. I go to Mexico a lot. They don't like him. They like us. They call him a person who eats shit." But Berlanga is not just intensifying the clash with his critiques of the Mexican super middleweight champion. He's also relishing the spotlight and stirring significant resentment among Mexican fans. In a recent ESPN interview, the WBA's mandatory challenger for Canelo Alvarez confidently declared his readiness to deliver a shocking upset. He boldly predicted that he would knock out the Mexican star within just 6 rounds, an ambitious claim given that Alvarez has never been knocked down in his entire professional career. He even assured that the last 3 opponents Canelo faced meant nothing, and that is why he defeated them. "We are going to make history and become legends. A lot of people say I haven't fought anyone, but that's life. I have to block everything out and focus on my training, putting God first. Everything that happens in my life happens for a reason." The Puerto Rican sports a black t-shirt emblazoned with the word "chosen" at the center. He proudly declares his affection for his critics and dismisses the naysayers who doubt his ability to take on one of the top pound-for-pound fighters globally. "For me, it's normal for people to talk bad about me. I'm taking everything bad to turn it into a positive," he explains, and assures that he is motivated for his next fight because he feels underestimated by the fans, because nobody has everything like me. Berlanga responded to the Mexican's claim that he would finish him within 8 rounds, promising to deliver the most unforgettable beating of his opponent's career. In response, the Puerto Rican took the TV camera and showed his 2 hands with the number 6. "6 rounds I'll give him," he says defiantly. "He said with Munguia 8 and he didn't do anything. For me, he's going to go down in the 6th, he assured. Moreover, Berlanga will be the 4th Puerto Rican fighter Canelo Alvarez has squared off against in his career, yet he is generating the most buzz of all. Previously, Miguel Cotto was involved in one of the most contentious decisions, which at the time benefited the Mexican. However, Berlanga also slammed his compatriot for that fight, where he assures that Canelo never hurt him. Cotto was old. He had received many blows with Margarito, who had a cast on his hand. Canelo did not fight a fresh Cotto, but an old one, and he never hurt him. And now, I am younger, stronger, and I have an IQ of another world." Make sure to check out some of our other videos on the screen if you enjoyed this one.